As a couple, parenting is either going to grow and strengthen or weaken and destroy your marriage. For my husband and I, it almost destroyed our marriage. Join me for this episode and I'll tell you the mistakes we made so you don't have to. Marriage and parenting invite us to significantly grow up. They call us to leave our self-focused existence into an other-focused existence. My husband and I were married 2.5 years when our first daughter was born. We hadn't made the transition from self-focused to other-focused in our marriage. So when our daughter was born, it began exposing the fault lines in our self-focused marriage. We didn't actually address those fault lines until we had 4 children and our oldest was 15. By that time, the fault lines in our marriage foundation had grown so big, our marriage was falling apart. What I'm sharing with you in this episode is what we are growing now, and it's what we wished we would have grown then. These are the powerful things I walk a lot of young couples through on coaching calls as they begin parenthood together. I'm Julia Woods, coach, trainer, and founder of Beautiful Outcome, a coaching company committed to help couples create communication that allows them to see and understand each other so you can partner in creating your dream life and marriage. I have an important gift to offer you. I'll tell you more about that at the end, so make sure you stay tuned. Let's start with what it means to be self-focused versus other-focused. By nature, we are self-focused. As a human, we naturally look at everything as though it's about me and what I want, what I think, feel, and believe, how life is supposed to be and how it should look, how I want things to be done, how I want to spend my time, my money, and my energy. True growth and development happens as we become other-focused, where you grow beyond our natural bent towards selfishness and into choosing a new negotiated way that works for both me and my spouse. We get honest about what we each think, feel, and believe, and how we want life to look. How do we want things to be done? How do we want to spend our time, money, and energy? Now, it seems obvious that the second version is what's needed in order to have a thriving marriage. However, very few couples actually choose it. When we grow an other-focused approach in our marriage before we have children, parenting together increases individual and marriage growth. When we don't grow an other-focused approach before having children, parenting together decreases our individual and marriage growth. Let's look at the 3 biggest challenges that couples face and the one thing that I have found solves all 3 of these challenges. The first challenge that couples face when they add children to their marriage is prioritizing their marriage growth. Everything living needs nurturing, which means our marriage needs consistent emotional, mental, and physical connection in order to grow. Each of your careers and the kids will easily fill all of your available time, making time for connection with each other very, very limited. But marriage growth requires intention from both of you. And I'm not talking about date nights. I'm talking about intentional conversations and daily times of connection. The second biggest challenge that parents face as a couple is prioritizing their individual growth. Again, everything living needs nurturing. Just like your marriage needs nurturing, you are a becoming. The relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship you have. Individual growth happens as you take time to get honest with yourself about your thoughts, feelings, actions, and acknowledge what you need and want. And look at what's working and what isn't in your life, your career, and your relationships. The third biggest challenge that parents face as a couple is dividing responsibilities. In order for you to have the needed time to prioritize your individual and marriage growth, you're going to need to divide the household and parenting responsibilities. And by responsibilities, I mean Whose bigger focus will be the financial provision, and whose will be on home care? Who is taking the middle of the night shifts when? Who is taking care of researching when new things need to be discovered? Who is focused on what exterior house needs? Who's focused on which interior house needs? Who's focused on what parts of getting groceries and food preparation? Who's focused on the various parts of cleaning? All of these responsibilities call us to a lot of negotiations. My husband and I let it figure itself out, which meant we each functioned in self-focused dynamics, and household responsibilities left no time for individual or marriage growth. And this is what nearly destroyed our marriage. Our biggest issue, and what would have solved all of these challenges, is taking personal responsibility in communication. Now, what does that mean? Deeply knowing your whole self, both your darkness and your light, and being willing to take full responsibility for the impact you make on others. As humans, we can be angry, jealous, selfish, manipulative, bitter, arrogant, and controlling. We can also be loving, generous, self-controlled, considerate, and forgiving. We are always some of both of these. And you cannot transform what you can't see. The more you know the good, bad, and ugly of who you are, the more personal responsibility we can take in our communication. Personal responsibility in communication will produce very powerful things, like the ability to take ownership, make requests, negotiate what is and isn't working for each of you. It'll give you the ability to talk through how to support each other in creating a life worth having. Talk about taking turns and having a day to sleep in as you each share the load of raising young children. You'll have the ability to talk about your children's needs and what it is that they need from each of you and how to help them feel seen and heard because you're modeling that. It'll give you the ability to connect in small 30-minute windows daily and weekly as a couple. It'll give you the power to talk about what makes each of your hearts come alive and how each of you can find that space regularly as individuals and as couples. And it'll give you the power to have deeply meaningful and satisfying experiences of both your emotional and sexual needs as you work together to honor one another and meet each other's needs. Personal responsibility in communication is other-focused communication. It allows you to be keenly aware of who you are being and the impact you're having on your spouse while caring deeply about them and who you want to be together. This communication requires daily intentionality and growth. And if you're willing to develop it, marriage and parenting will be the richest gift life offers both of you. It is up to you. And I've created a whole online course that will walk you step by step through how to do this. If you want more details, please reach out to me. Speaking of gifts, Turn Defensiveness into Connection is a gift I have for you, and you can find your access to the copy of this ebook in the description under this video or in the comments. Write the word gift. If you like this episode, would you please like it and subscribe and share one thing in the comments you are taking away. Look forward to seeing you next week. Hey, hun.
Yeah.
If we could go back to when we had our first daughter, what is it that you would tell us at that season in our life?